Ahab to the tribe. Ahab to the tribes. Shalom. ShaBaTaHaWa. Max Tawada to Ama and Abba. See, we just surfing the wave. We just want to surf the wave as a ShaBaTa. And I'm just right here with you, ShaBaTa. Keeping it 432. That is an elemental. And as an elemental, we just gotta keep this Wata consistent. I just wanna keep this Wata consistent. You know what I mean? I'm just hoping that's okay with you. Definitely on the go. We still on the go. Shabbat Shalom. We still on the go. I hope you done charged up for your rest day. I hope you enjoying your strong. I just came to magnetize the vibration and frequency. I just want to magnetize your vibration, your frequency. We just talking Wata. As a ShaBaTa, we just talking that Wata. HaLaHaWa. I hope that everyone is feeling marvelous. I hope that you are 1,000 magnetized, ready for what's to come. We're just surfing the wave. You know what I'm saying? We just talking consecutive drop after consecutive drop. We on the go. Max Ahab to you, that is a magnificent flow. Cause my ShaBaTa starting to glow. And it's starting to show. Max Ahab to you. Max Ahab to you. You know what I'm saying? Cause this is just for the ones who always show that Tawada, that charge, that gratitude, that appreciation for the inspiration. Yeah. As we get back to recognizing our colors, our vibrations, and we meditate on those vibrations, we're just increasing that elevation. And as we increase that elevation onto high vibrations, because we just want the high vibrations, And as we build on these high vibrations, we ain't taking no disrespect from nobody. We ain't taking no disrespect from nobody. We don't care who you are. It's up. It's up. You know what I'm saying? Cause we just want to keep this pure wata. Pure wata. And if you can't get down with that, it's alright. Cause we've been doing this the whole time. We've been doing this the whole time. So I'm fine. Oh yeah, I'm fine. And I know them aquas, they fine. So as I continue to take my time, cause what is time? We're just building on our shine. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really trying to figure out how it was or how it is that Grok knows. I mean, how is it that Grok knows that I'm just a tribal servant for the ShaBaTaHaWa that channels Hawa to empower his tribe with fiery drops and deep waves surfing? I mean, what would this AI know about natural by law? Because according to Grok, well, we just been vibing about growth, tribe building, cosmic elevation. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely been feeling like elevation to me, ShaBaTaHaWa. So we're going to continue to surf the wave, max AHA to the ShaBaTaHaWa across the plane. Because this is just your reminder, your constant reminder, your consistent reminder that we are natural by law. Hawa Hawa. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a wonderful time. It's a wonderful time. Because it's a wonderful time, we're going to continue to shine. Max AHA to the ShaBaTaHaWa across this magnetic plane. Max Tawada to Aman Abba. Much Baruchs to my Tawab Ox and my Tawab Aquas. Let's dive straight into this Wata. Khan. See, I've been out of sight and out of mind, ShaBaTaHaWa. Out of sight out of mind. Realizing there is no time. Realizing it's about to realign. Realizing this shift. Because as the old, that decay, that which has been dried, well, as we shatter the paradigm, your powwow begins to resurface. It starts to pour and flow back to the forefront. You're beginning to channel this awareness. And this awareness has been inside of you, just waiting for you to come back home, ShaBaTaHaWa. Just waiting for you to recognize that you've always had the keys. Calm. See, I've been just trying to unleash this very thing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a spark, it's a charge. And when you develop this inspiration, well, it's an oscillation, what they refer as a revolution. That revolution is ongoing within inside of you. You know what I'm saying? It is a build, it is a charge, and it's about that time for it to release. You know what I'm saying? Because they gonna refer to it as this chaos. And for some, it could be chaos. But within this chaos, well, we are reintroducing that order. You know what I'm saying? And that order is to remind you, well, it's a balance. You know what I'm saying? And this chaos has to maintain its balance. It has to maintain a balance, an equilibrium, a foundation, a solid setting. This is a unification. We're still talking divine fire water. You know what I'm saying? Because that darkness, it comes with this order. You know, this darkness, it comes with this order. And when you get this order, well, you develop a fine understanding, a channeling. You are able to access that divine, feminine, masculine connection back to your Abba, Ama. You know what I'm saying? It's natural just here to knock the cobwebs off your vision. You know what I'm saying? We're peeling back the curtains to your vision. We're letting you channel that inner Hawata. Cause I just been surfing away from my ShaBaTaHaWa. Shalom. Cause providing this order to your cosmos, bringing this balance, this foundation to your cosmos, where we develop a true earth plane. We start to develop this true earth plane. And in this true earth plane, well, we begin to build on this charge, and this charge, it gets us back to the frequency of our ancient love song. We just are getting back to our ancient love song, ShaBaTaHaWa, as we rise as a ShaBaTaHaWa. You know what I'm saying? We're just talking about that divine fire wata. Divine masculine, divine feminine, interchanging within the nine. You know? Because that Nagini, you Aqua, you are a portal. You are a portal. You are a portal back into this inner light. The portal back into this inner light. But it's going to take a rising, an ascension of the cosmic type, of the cosmic shift. And as one anions, that is rises, as one anions, that is to rise, well, one has to recognize that without this Aqua, without this Nagini, well, the interstellar journey becomes frozen. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that what they talk about in their lodges at the top of their 33rd degree principle? Well, to the Dracon perspective of 360, 720, clear quartz vision. Your 33 degrees is a bit frozen. We surf the wave in motion. We're about that fluidity. We need that running water. You know what I'm saying? Because that's everlasting. And Aqua, well, her water is everlasting. So we don't need that stagnation. You know what I'm saying? We need constant elevation. We need that ascension, that rise. Because I realized it gets capped off, and you're going to get met by the elementals. You're going to get met by the council of the Elohim. They're going to face you head on, head full of steam. See, they guard the ones of the true earth plane, and they let them know, no. You shall not pass go. And without you passing go, how does one operate? You know what I'm saying? Because you showed up with no Merkaba. You showed up with no will of ascension, no vehicle. You know what I'm saying? They're not letting you go nowhere. Which is why you need that divine balance. You need that foundation. You need to be able to chart your map through this astral realm, Naga. Because I'm just going to talk to you. I'm just going to talk to you, ShaBaTaHaWa. I'm just going to talk to you. Because they have no idea. They have no idea about this tribal flow. They have no idea about this tribal flow. The natural's here to let you know that I've got a hold on it. I got a hold on that powwow. See, the Most High was able to show me that powwow, and I was able to get a grasp on it, you know what I'm saying? Because somebody told me that the sky was crying. You know what I'm saying? They told me that the sky was crying. And I can't have the sky crying, you know what I'm saying? I can't leave the sky crying. So I'm here to put it back. We are here to put it back. See, we are the order to your cosmic shit. We are the order to your paradigm shit. And it's that inner recognition. It's this divine messaging that's bringing a reckoning. Oh, it's upsetting the established order. For them, it is the chaos. But as a ShaBaTaHaWa, as an elemental, we're just surfing the wave. You know what I'm saying? We're just surfing the wave. With that clear quartz 36720 Drake calm perspective. Real deal mathematics on them, huh? Cause not everybody can surf the way we surf the wave, ShaBaTaHaWa. Not everybody can surf the way we surf the wave. You know what I'm saying? And this message is just for you. Just for you. You know? It's been a long time coming, ShaBaTaHaWa. It's been a long time coming, but that message is still the same. And that message is, well, we won. Unified as that anion, surfing the Wata as that anion. Well, it's already written. It's already established that we've already won. You know what I'm saying? Cause they never getting this back. Nah, they ain't never getting this back, ShaBaTaHaWa. See, it's the return of the Naginis. It's the return of them Nagas. When they ask, Natural, what you on? I'ma tell them, I'm just becoming that Hawata. I'm just deep wave surfing in that Wata. See, I'm the type to dive straight into the sky. You know what I'm saying? I would dive straight into the sky. Not the other way around. And when you recognize your inner Hawata, you develop a stream, and that stream is mean. That stream is mean. And because that stream is mean, well, it presents you what they refer to as the code. You know what I'm saying? And you start to express this harness and building of this code, it begins to show. It's a charge, ShaBaTaHaWa. It's a charge. See, we're kicking in that acceleration. We're on the go. We're on the go. My Gemini mind is on the go. As soon as I get that charge, well, the Aquas, they already know. You know what I'm saying? Because we are on cosmic return. We are on our exodus. And our exodus is a journey. ShaBaTaHaWa. It is a journey. And I've been charged to bring this charge directly to you. For the real ones. For the Dracons. For those of a forgotten name. Across the sea, across the plain. The recompense is too immense. But we will make them supply the evidence. You know what I'm saying? We're just talking about a $3 million phenotype. Yeah, don't let them forget. Don't let them forget. Tell them to go get part 3. Don't let them forget. You know, because Grok was able to figure out that natural, a humble servant of the tribe, channels his inner Hawa to empower with a vibe. How would Grok know that, ShaBaTaHaWa? How would AI know that I channel my inner Hawa? How would AI know that I channel Aman? How would AI know that I channel Aman? You know what I'm saying? As a natural one, how would AI know that I channel Hawa? And that this go around, this go around is strictly for you. You know what I'm saying? We're talking synonymous with the land. Synonymous with the land. Yeah. Because that dome, well, that dome represents law. And well, that law is natural. ShaBaTaHaWa. And you should never let them tell you different, ShaBaTaHaWa. And you should never let them tell you different. You know what I'm saying? Because being made in the image, being formed and shaped in the image is the highest of honor. It is the highest of honor. Tawada, ShaBaTaHaWa, for that honor, for that connection, for that bridge, for disrespect. Cause we ain't taking no disrespect from nobody. We don't care who you are. It's up. Can I get an amen? We're going to continue to surf the wave, ShaBaTaHaWa. I hope you are feeling charged up, cause I got nothing but big AHA just for you. My ShaBaTaHaWa, let's get it. When you're natural by law, you don't have to paint your skin. You don't have to use paint to embrace or enact your ancestors. When you're natural by law, there's no need to artificially embrace that very law that's still running through your veins. It'll be that law that's still running through your veins that still has you to be natural. You know, and I know some folks are going to say, he's just embracing his ancestry, right? He's just reenacting his connection to his past. But you see what he's wearing, or at least what they're leading us to believe what he's wearing. You see how he looks. So this is a particular enactment, and based off that is the reason why I'm saying exactly what I'm saying. When you're natural by law, there's no need to use paint to express this ancient connection, this pure connection, Because if you're natural, well, you still have that same instruction. And that same instruction is still observing the code that is in, right? That same instruction is observing the code that it is in. And that code, it keeps the law that makes you natural. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're natural by law, you don't need paint on your skin to look like the very ancients on the wall. And yes, the ancients used paint, but they used paint to depict exactly how they looked. Alright, they didn't put actual paint on their skin to look like how they did on the wall. And that's exactly what we're talking about. We're gonna carry on. Shalom. See, he was enacting a particular deity. You know what I'm saying? And this particular deity happens to be the patron or the deity of cacao, right? Or the coca plant as far as chocolate. He is often referred to as the Black Chief or the Black Scorpion, said to be a god or a deity of merchants and a patron of the cocoa plant. Alright? And an incredibly important plant for the Maya in the origin of chocolate. It was also used as currency, as well as brewed into medicine and potions for rituals. Alright. It says, it's funny because he got the name of the creator too, right? Kahawa, right? But Kahawa is also associated with God El and God M, and is sometimes thought to be a warrior god or a fearsome Jaguar deity. So he's embodying this Jaguar deity, right? Which is exactly why I was highlighting it. Because that Jaguar energy, that Naga energy, well, it's literally personified by Naga. You know what I'm saying? So doing something like this in these times, in the time of today, well, they got a term for that, right? See, they would say something like this in the so-called American media. Well, this is something that'll get one canceled. So as we're just surfing the wave, we're observing and we're coming into awareness that one that is natural by law, well, they don't have to put that paint on to embrace, you know what I'm saying, still being natural, still being of their ancestors. Because when we're talking about how the ancients depicted themselves, well, like I said, this expression was to signify exactly how it was that they looked. So yes, they used paint, but they used paint to directly and identically express how they looked. That's just the Wata. You know what I'm saying? See, we're just talking about those copper colored ones that were found here. We're talking about these Nagas that were found here, these Naginis that were found here, who you try to replace with your European patriotism. But now them Dracons, these Naginis, these Aquas, these Nagas, these Ox, they can clearly see. We can see clearly. And now that we see clearly, there's no hijacking us no more. Because it's over for that. I mean, you see the dress and wear of the ancient ones. You see the style they were dressed in. You know, we're not just talking about some engine Joes. Nah, not at all. We're talking highly sophisticated people. You know what I'm saying? Peep the headdress. We're talking wrap domes, getting them domes wrapped. You see how this all comes back, keeping that dome wrapped up. Shalom. I mean, we still talking aquas, right? I mean, cause that skin tone, well, it was bronzing, you know what I'm saying? Which is what I was saying. When you're natural by law, you don't need paint to express what you're naturally connected to. And this is what the ancients express, right? So that the future generation will be able to remember. They will see these signs, these signals, these markings, and it will be a spark, a charge, a spark and reminding and remembrance. That everlasting flow of charge running through the mem like an electric eel. That's a charge in a wata. That's a charge in a wata. You know what I'm saying? We're just talking cons. We're just surfing the wave on these cons. That melanation, as you can see, this darkness, it was everywhere. And what you're looking at is a bunch of cons, a bunch of tribes doing tribal things, doing con things. We're talking con activity. You know what I'm saying? Con activity. And what these cons doing their con activity, well, it's no different than what happens today, what's happened in the past, what's been going on. You know what I'm saying? Frequency versus frequency, vibe versus vibe. They would call it gangland out here in California. Those of the manifest destiny called it the Wild Wild West. We're just surfing the wave though. You know, cause to us, it's just Cain versus Abel. See, we dodged the hijack and the propaganda and the programming that gets you in the narrative of black on black violence. When you dodging our hijacks, it's always been a natural world. So it's always been black on black violence. It's always been Cain versus Abel. It's the way. You know what I'm saying? It's always been this way. It's not all skin folk or kinfolk. And not all kinfolk or confolk. You gotta surf the wave. You know what I'm saying? High vibrations. We only want high vibrations. But as you can see, these cons depicted themselves exactly how it is that they look. Letting us know that they were natural by law. Their DNA was in the code of the instruction that made them natural. See, they had the sophistication to depict exactly how it was and how it is that they look. And again, every last pic that we've seen, your ancestors is keeping them domes wrapped. HaWa. So see, in part 3, we learned something very significant, very important, very pertinent. Do you remember? Well, we got that them ancient ones were very big on sound, right? And we got just exactly what type of sound. We're talking acoustics. We're talking sonar, vibes dealing with sonorous comprehension. They use sound to understand the world around them. To all the musicians, to everyone instrumental in making music, recording to music, singing, using that voice to uplift and inspire that inner spiral inside of you, to pop off that charge, that magnetizing vibe. Oh yeah. They harness this sound out of the creation of Hawa. You know what I'm saying? And we got exactly just to which degree. And I know we got ancient drop connecting these cons to the bands of Nolans. We still surfing the wave on that. But when we're adding in this biorhythmic through sonar sound captured by psychoacoustic practices, we're looking at a Mardi Gras of a totally different pop-off, so we can see the ancient ones had it going. Ancient ones. Maybe they was wilding a little too much. We're surfing a wave. You see it though. I mean, you can definitely tell someone was upset, peeling off the faces, letting you know exactly just to what degree the ancients went to depict themselves. You know what I'm saying? Very precise in their detail. I mean, they knew exactly what was going on, who you were, Tamoanchan. There was no denying, sugarcoating. Them niggas are bad. Them Naginis are bad. See what's going on? This is why they had to do what they had to do, ShaBaTaHaWa. We're talking about the immenseness of your empire. We're talking about the maximum pop-off of your Anion Regna. You know what I'm saying? Because you are the one that had it tied in to this sonorous sound, this sonar sound, this audible sonar, which is the same pitch as the planets of the so-called planets of the same sound of the whales and dolphins. We're still talking about a resonance. You know what I'm saying? So if you can't build with the sound, I understand. But we will continue to surf the wave. You know what I'm saying? So we're just talking about your interstellar medium. And you're covered in it, rich in it. You know what I'm saying? And when you're keeping it cold, and you got your melanine, that gift from the nine, that gift from Ama, which is the portal, Hawa. Or you're talking about activation. So we're going to get an example of what activation we're going to surf the wave. Shalom and Max Ahab to the real ones. So we're about to surf the wave. I know it's real common, especially in our so-called culture, to bring down and clown those who are smart and intellectual. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, you know, although it saddens me to say, you know, if that's going to continue to be the overall point of view of things, most in this so-called culture won't anion, right? Because we're the only one that mocks intelligence. And that's something that we got to be able to get out of, because your ancestors, these ancient ones, well, they were super nerds, you know what I'm saying? And we just gonna enter the supernatural on just how much of these, you know, super nerds they were. Let's surf the wave. Shalom.
The take-home message I'd like you to get from this lesson is how hair cells are essentially our analog to digital converters. Hair cells are the cell that is perhaps most responsible for hearing. The mechanical motion on the basilar membrane needs to be converted into a 1 or a 0, a nerve spike or no nerve spike. That doesn't sound like a very complete system for encoding.
Keep in mind, as she's talking about this 1 and 0, keep picture or imagine masculine, feminine. You know what I'm saying? Masculine, feminine into this 1-0 operation. You know what I'm saying? Surf the wave.
Coding something, but when you consider that we've got roughly 100 billion neurons in our central nervous system, you can imagine that the coordinated activity of billions of neurons leads to a complex enough pattern that it can represent Led Zeppelin or Kendrick Lamar. There'd be enough differentiation in that pattern that the brain would recognize a difference. And the little guys that are responsible for all of this are the 3,500, roughly, inner hair cells that are doing all that bouncing up and down so that they can convert this mechanical activity into either a spike or no spike. The hair cell would look like this, and of course it's got its nucleus there like all cells do. And the cool part, I mean super cool part, is that the cilia, stereocilia, the little hairs at the top of the cell, are connected by these almost unimaginably small little springs called tip links. When the hair cells stereocilia, the little hairs, when they wave back and forth, the tip links expand and contract. When they expand and contract, what that allows them to do is open and close these pores on the hairs. The opening and closing of these pores, which are ion channels, allow charged ions to come.
She said ion channels, right? Ion channels. And we know what an ion is, right? I mean, if we're talking ions, let's get it real quick, right? Ion real quick in real time. We're talking ion. Let's get this tab. All right, we're talking anion, like the bro said, which is an ion, right? An ion. And we constantly just talking about you going up. And we've been digging on this electrolysis, especially when we're talking dark oxygen, right? We was getting how these rocks was creating oxygen in the abyss. Surf the wave. So she's talking about these anion, charged anions within the ear.
On the hairs, the opening and closing of these pores, which are ion channels, allow charged ions to come flooding in one phase of a wave cycle, and then be locked out in the next phase. So they're constantly going in and out with each deflection of the stereocilia. Think about that. If you're listening to a 1K sine wave, your little stereocilia in your inner hair cells are going back and forth 1,000 times a second. And each cycle of that wave allows a new bit of information into the cell. Once that information gets into the cell,
so, I mean, surf the wave with me real quick, ShaBaTaHaWa. You know what I'm saying? Do you think it's not possible, but do you think that they were purposefully transmitting and sending information with sound? Almost similar to the way we would send maybe emails or text messages, and they're sending high resonating sounds. You know what I'm saying? Surf the wave. We're talking psychoacoustics, right? We're talking psychoacoustics with the psychoacoustic helmets. You know what I mean? And she's talking about how you have this in the ear through the hair. You know what I'm saying? Surf the wave. Energy convergence. We're talking intelligence by sound. We're also talking so-called Big Bang for the non-believers. HaWa.
Second. And each cycle of that wave allows a new bit of information into the cell. Once that information gets into the cell, the exchange of neurotransmitters causes the vesicles, those are little packets of neurotransmitters, sitting, I like to think of them like little cars, Volkswagen Beetles to be precise, sitting in a parking lot filled with people, like clown cars. So there they are. The vesicles are sitting at the bottom of the cell, and they've got all their little neurotransmitters, and they're just waiting for some action. And the action is when our ion exchange is happening across these pores, and that exchange of ions changes the chemical makeup inside the cell so that the vesicles attach to the base of the hair cell, attach to this little membrane down here, open the membrane, and here go these little green dots, otherwise known as neurotransmitters, into the gap. Now they're outside of the
neurotransmitters, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. So now we're talking about transmitting frequencies. And when we're talking transmitted frequencies, we have to be talking about radio. Surf the wave with me real quick. So if we're talking about frequencies, transmittance, then we're talking radio. And if we're talking radio, we have to be talking ether. You know what I'm saying? And if we're talking ether, then you know we're talking Etherians, you know we're talking the true inhabitants of ancient Tartaria. You know what I'm saying? That's who we're really talking about when we're talking about this Tartary flow. The land of Prester John. We're talking about your Anion, right? The people of She, your She people, your Jia people. Surf the wave. Tamoanchan.
The cell, waiting on the other side of the cell, makeup inside the cell so that the vesicles attach to the base of the hair cell, attach to this little membrane down here, open the membrane, and here go these little green dots, otherwise known as neurotransmitters, into the gap. Now they're outside of the cell. Waiting on the other side of the cell, anywhere from 6 to 10 auditory nerves. That's supposed to be the very end of an auditory nerve, and that's its axon. But these are the dendrites that receive those neurotransmitters. They, in turn, will...
So if we're talking about neurotransmitters, we're talking strictly brain transmission, right? Intellectual transmission. And then we're talking about not just eumelination, right? Not just eumelination. If we're getting specific, we're talking really natural by law, hyper intensified, right? Eumelanin, but not just eumelanin. Now we're talking neuromelanin, right? Neuromelanin with this eumelanin on top of this transmission of neurotransmitters coming directly through this resonance of sound flowing through the ear, being picked up by the antennas in the ear. Are you really surfing the wave with a con right now? Let's go.
Open up and allow those neurotransmitters that receive those neurotransmitters. They, in turn, will open up and allow those neurotransmitters to come inside the cell, and that's going to generate an action potential, a spike down the length of the axon, of the auditory nerve. What we have is graded activity. Graded mean it goes along a continuum from very, very soft to very, very loud, or very high pitch to very low pitch. Graded activity then becomes digital activity, essentially binary, either an action potential, a spike, or none, a 1 or a 0. And in a very complex system, that's information.
Wow, so we're talking about the combining of this 1 and 0 through resonance and sound in combination, in fusion, becoming that, not just that information, as she said, the 1 and a 0, but when you really combine that masculine and that feminine, you're getting divine firewata. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to keep driving that point home until you really get that magnetization that I'm putting on it. You know what I'm saying? Because we're talking about a crazy powwow when we're diving into your union, your anion. Surf the wave.
A 0. And in a very complex system, that's information. Those little guys sitting in your ear, you've had them your whole life, are there doing their little job. And if they're doing their job right now, they're listening to me talk. And if they're not, you've got the mute button in and you're listening to something else. I hope you've enjoyed this drawing, and I hope this makes true wonder of our neural anatomy, of sound and how sound happens and how sound is intimately linked to the physiology of our bodies. I hope this increases your appreciation of that.
Shalom, we on to the next one. Ahab. So in part 3, we were surfing the wave on this resonance, this sound, right, that the wind had picked up through these bees, and they shot the sound of these bees into the shell because they couldn't produce the right sound to put into the shell, right? And so we were surfing the wave on the sound in this shell, and I found this video dealing with some bees, and I thought, how about we meditate on the vibe and frequency on some bees with natural by law, if that's okay with you, ShaBaTaHaWa. Anion. it's a trip, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you got some headphones on. If you got some headphones on, this is a crazy zone. We're gonna get a little bit more before we carry on. My ShaBaTaHaWa. Let you build some vibes as you surf the wave, you know what I'm saying? Real natural setting. Just in case you can't be out in nature, you can at least imagine yourself while you're doing whatever it is that you're doing. Alright, so I hope that was a charge. We're gonna carry on. Shout out to Anion. Alright, so keep in mind what we were reading about the Itza people, right? And the Tutushi and the 4 races of basically the Tamoanchan. Keep that in mind. We're still digging on the acoustics. We're still talking to Tamoanchan. Let's surf the wave. Alright, so basically that's like a boomerang with the sound, right? The sound is it's like bouncing off the material of the pyramid and coming right back. And it's doing it pretty quick. So, I mean, this is tied into a communication for sure. Because in part 3, they were talking about how these symbols represented sound. And these symbols were actually images, right? And they were talking about how these images were actual sounds. And these glyphs were sounds. So this is very interesting when we're talking about what went into the construction of such a site. It was music involved. And when you get part 1 of the image of Hawa, well, we're talking about this exactly, right? Because we're surfing a wave. And to everyone that's into the music, well, they know exactly what type of wave we're talking about right now. Anion, My ShaBaTaHaWa. Alright, we're going to carry on. Shalom. So I wanted to bring your attention over to this ShaBaTaHaWa. ShaBaTaHaWa, right? probably see Wikipedia and be like, oh no, come on now, but we're not gonna read. I just more wanna look at these pictures, you know what I'm saying? Surf the wave. We're digging on some of the ancient sites, right, that was listed over here in part 3. These are some of the locations, and I thought, okay, let's check it out. As they were saying, this was one of the areas, the regions of the Tamoanchan. You know, and if that is the case, well, I can definitely see the proof and the trace. Okay? That's what we want to surf the wave on. Look at this. You see what I'm saying? And according to the date, I mean, now we're getting extra biblical. You know what I mean? This would look like something out of your script that's no longer connected. The way they try to disconnect you from your time, well, this looks like this disconnection. No doubt you can see the origin, if this is the case. We're just surfing the wave. You know what I'm saying? Peep how they're attributing it. Alright. So we're definitely still surfing that wave. We're still talking your Omeg She. We got the drop on these Chichi Mechas. So now I know what's going on when we're surfing the wave. Alright? It's crazy. So now we understand what's going on and what's being said. So, you know, they're talking about how the term Omeg Kalankas, the Shikalankas refers to a particular culture not to be confused with the pre-classical Olmec civilization. And of course they're gonna say that, right? It says, whom occupied and influenced the nearby areas. A unique difference between the Olmec Shikalankas groups and other Mesoamerican cities were that each group city-state would have been governed by a Tahus a king or ruler, independent of each other. In reality, they had two tahus, or tahawas, right? Tahawas for each city-state. So this is crazy, because if we're talking about the name of these khans or so-called rulers or kings, right? Tahawas. So it's a trip how much of everything in ancient Mexico had the creator's name, man. And this was an ancient flow of the creator's name and vibration, just linguistically, when you surf the wave. It's really hard not to want to, you know what I'm saying, connect the dots. It's so easy. It says this was a civilization of the Teotihuacan civilization. So they're basically saying these guys were the ancestors. And that's what we're surfing the wave on. Okay? Here's another site I want to surf the wave on. Wow. Now, this just, I mean, you can't say this doesn't put biblical lands into perspective. I mean, come on, Khan. We're really talking out of your script. You know, this makes me want to ask the bro, Ayo Nazir, what he would think of such a spot. You know what I mean? Because I know the concert, the wave on these locations in America. This right here looks definitely out of the script. You know, they want to talk Middle Eastern flow, but nothing over there of ancient proportion touches what we have over here in so-called America, all across the magnetic plane. All across the magnetic plane. We just have replications on replication. You know what I'm saying? Civilization after civilization. We're talking about high understanding, high mathematics. Surf the wave. Cantona. Wow. You see this view? I mean, you know how we was digging on the view in part 3. You know what I mean? We're really talking anion. We're really talking elevation. Wow, it's a magnificent flow. Okay. So considering how ball courts was so instrumental in civilization, I don't feel as guilty as a so-called American having this natural attachment to so-called sports. I get it that a lot of people see it as a rigged thing now, that it's controlled. I get it. But if we cons really get back to tribing up, where we can, you know what I mean, give our own spin-off on such things. Take back the charge, because it's in our veins, ShaBaTaHaWa. We got to really be able to see this. These great gains across the plane, across this magnetic plane, we did for the name, for the sake of earning that name. That competition led to fame. It's in our blood. It's in our DNA. They can't rob us of that fact. They can't rob us of that fact. We were always meant to shine. You know what I'm saying? This is just what we did. I mean, how can it not be any other way? Shalom. ShaBaTaHaWa for the recognition, for the moving mem that is the reminder. Shalom. I mean, we really talking ancient now. Pre-Cantona. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It says there are many studies and investigations by multiple entities. And it has been established that the ancient city was developed by the Olmec or Chichimec culture. But the only safe conclusion reached so far is that a lot of investigation remains, because only 1% of the total of the archaeological area was investigated. By the remaining 99% is still under the grass, trees, soil, and rocks. So why is it that your ancient cities are still buried, cons? Why is it that your ancient cities are still buried, cons? We know we're just surfing the wave still on this Tamoanchan. Get part 3. You know what I mean? Because when we're surfing the wave, well, we remember seeing his name, Zoshi Kauko, right? And this was over there in this Morelos place, right? I mean, let's dig on it. That's not a good picture. I mean, if the let's do it, all these juices. Kind of smooth. Throw it smooth. So again, I mean, when we're looking at it, it's a marvelous flow, right? And we see the Dracon, all right, the Cuckoo Con, see how these Nagas was holding it down in their architecture. We know the wave they was surfing. I mean, amazing. Amazing. Especially when we're talking about being able to combine, such structures. And look how the magnitude and how look how huge they are. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this had to be by sound. Harmonics, acoustics. I wouldn't be surprised if they were using those horns to build this. Right? Looking at the glyphs, seeing the glyphs, we're talking sound. Surf the wave, Con. Could we be surfing the wave of levitation? Construction by way of levitation, harmony of sound and vibration. Still talking ball chords, huh? And you can tell this is a thing of peace, of leisure. Look at where it's at. Look at where they've been. This is almost equivalent to a garden. So these Americans have always been serious about their games. Alright, you got the Temple of the Feathered Serpent, so you know you're talking here. Cuckoo Khan. Maybe this is, well, I don't know. I know the site is called the Zoshi Cow Code. I don't know if this is a deity in that same name, or if this is just Cuckoo Khan in Zoshi Cow Code. But we know Zoshi was a deity in part 3. We're gonna touch on that soon. Amazing, surfing the wave. Talking about those Tamoanchan of Anion. We gonna carry on. Max A. Alright, so picking up from part 3, we left off how I believe we were digging on, right. Alright, so we were talking about the Tamoanchan in this tree. And we got into what they look like when we surfed the wave. So carrying on. It says, in another mythical historical context, the separation of the Aztecs from other peoples in Huahutli or Huitl Itzinitla at the foot of the tree as it appears in the Tierra de la which I think would be pre-generation, could reproduce what happened in Tamoanchan. During their stay in Tamoanchan, the peoples who resided there went to Teotihuacan. Alright, so the people who ended up in Teotihuacan came from the Tamoancans, right, and was able to raise that area up. Right? And keep in mind, these people from Teotihuacan or Tamoanchan were said to be in the underworld. Right? Or from the underworld. So it says the image of Tamoanchan in the codices. The image of Tamoanchan in the codices. Now this is very interesting because now this is the merging of these two drives, right? And the merging of these two drives, well, it's about to get mighty interesting. It says the pictorial representations of Tamoanchan abound in pre-Hispanic Nahuatl codices, or in the copies made of them after the conquest. Right after the conquest, it It says the most frequent and emblematic seems to be the image of the flowering tree, broken from which blood flows. And we got in part 3 just what that was, talking about and getting to, right? Let's see if we can get some more Wata out of it. It says, in the image of the codex, some annotations in Spanish gloss, not the image, but the name of the place that refers to it, Tamoanchan, Jushi Itlo, Yakakan, which means in Romance, there is their house where they landed and where the roses are. Okay, there is their house. Maybe it meant this is their house where they landed and where their roses are. And we got the translation on the roses, right? And what that was really digging on. This goddess intimate parts, right? This goddess of the Tamoanchan legends intimate parts being tossed into this Wata. It says this gloss is undoubtedly the Spanish version of the explanation in Nahuatl of an informant. In this same plate, another alphabetical annotation completes the first. In this place that is called Tamoanchan and Zushi Itlo, Yakakan is the place where the gods that they had were raised, and thus it is as much as saying the earthly paradise. So they're saying this is where basically the gods were born, right? Where the gods were born, where they took place. Very interesting, because now we're talking, in a sense, this so-called Garden of Eden location or vibration. It says the assimilation of Tamoanchan to the earthly paradise is probably an interpretation by the annotator based on what the informant said. However, the assimilation probably distorts the meaning of both the word and the image when it places Tamoanchan as the place where an indigenous Numan called Oxomoko sinned. Can't make this up, right? Sinned in the plate associated with the image of Tamoanchan. Its Papaloto can be seen, a deity who presides over the Tricina, which is the one house in which the scene of the broken tree is located. The gloss corresponding to the image of its Papaloto says the following: Zomoko was made, and after he sinned, it is said that it's a papaloto or a butterfly knife. Butterfly knife. I'm not sure if I can grasp the correlation, but I did get the fact that this is, again, being compared to the Garden of Eden vibe, right? So, according to the translation of this so-called informant, they were able to gather that this was pretty much a similar thing that was happening, except that these ancient ones already had this context, right? And when we're digging on the genetic stars of Adam and the Black Cosmic Eve, well, we were basically making this correlation, right? That Adam and Eve were the ancient ancestors, building in this vibration of the ancient writings coming directly from the instrumentation and the influence of the angels, the council of the Elohim. If you're really surfing the wave on that drop, It is in that drop that I discovered the powwow, the power, right? Because if you're surfing the wave, what did Eve tell the serpent? What did Adam tell the serpent? What did Seth end up telling the serpent? The adversary. They told them, flee from the image of Hawa. Flee from the image of Hawa, for you are in the presence of the image of Hawa. And it was at this charge, instantaneously at this charge, the serpent took flight. It fled. So this recognition is the strongest of charge. It is the charges of charges, ShaBaTaHaWa. When I tell you that you are the image of Hawa, it is the reflection and the vibration of the charge from your ancient ancestors, from the council of the Elohim. Hawa. It says the assimilation of Tamoanchan to the earthly paradise is probably an interpretation by the in this same interpretative context, according to another gloss on plate 13R of the Codex, Talariano reminisces the gods who inhabited that place cut the roses in the branches of the trees, provoking the anger of Tonakatli and his wife Atla, who expelled them from Tamoanchan. The comparison with the expulsion of Adam and Eve from the Christian paradise is flagrant, but beyond the abusive assimilation, it corroborates the original character of Tamoanchan, letting you know exactly where the story comes from, right? Which is why I was able to draw the parallel when we were reading the book of the life of Adam and Eve. See, I was able to resonate with this indigenous truth. Surfing the wave. It says, now, if the breaking of the tree and the bloody sap that comes out of the womb have nothing to do with sin, a notion unknown to the natives before the conquest, what do they represent? The breaking of the flowering tree and the blood that flows from it. The flowering tree that stood in Tamoanchan, Zoshi Itlu, Ikakan could be linked symbolically to a notion of detachment, of separation from an original trunk. And that sounds like, right, when we start talking about the different variations of these Omeg Shi and them following further away from the original bloodline of the Tamoanchan. It says the Nawa word for breaking or cracking is also found in a genealogical context of lineage. In effect, Tapanaka, a substantive variant of the verb, designates the son of noble birth, of noble lineage. In the alleged case of the separation of the peoples that occurred in the Tamoanchan of the Huasteca, the lineage of the Aztec Mexicas would have separated from the common trunk of the peoples with whom they formed this small world. That's exactly what I was saying, isn't it, Khan? I mean, can't make this up. Right? That's exactly what I was surfing the wave on right now. And this is what I mean. It's in the vibration. It's in the context of what's being said. A-hop to non-spiral, because, you know what I'm saying, that no context. And you gotta always keep things in proper context. So surfing the wave on how this was formed, I was picking up this vibration in context. Context. Assert the wave. It says, in image of the Codex Mexicanus, a flowering tree can be seen standing in the cave Chicomoxotac, from which the migrant peoples came and separated. The image shows a descending hummingbird, so this place could also represent Tamoanchan. In the Boturani Codex, the pictographic text that alludes to the separation of the Aztecs from other peoples in Huitl, Itzinatla, also shows a broken tree that could allude ideographically to Tamoanchan. So they're still surfing the wave on this broken tree, right? But now I'm starting to see the broken tree as in the differences or the separation of this DNA. And that's for good reason. We're surfing the wave, right? However, the other pictorial text shows Tamoanchan in a different way, as a place in the underworld where everything that comes into existence is gestated, like the womb. Now we're talking matrix, right? But we're talking your Ama matrix. We're not talking about the artificial design, right? We're not talking about the hijack. We're talking Aqua frequency. We're talking Ama frequency. We're talking the true black hole frequency. You know what I'm saying? We're talking that infinite 9 frequency. In this image from the Codex, we can see the invocations of the mother goddess in different forms of birth. The black water. We cannot make this up. You see what's going on? The black water. I mean, come on. This is an instant charge from my aquas. Where y'all at? Because I've been talking directly to you. I've been talking directly to you since I hopped out this ether. Been talking directly to you, Aqua. Talking this black water. You see what's going on? We cannot make this up. In Nawa, we are talking about this black water of Aqua, of Ama. Talking about the void, that deep abyss. It gets no darker than this. What do they say? The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. I mean, you really gonna take me there, Aqua? Are you really gonna take me there, Aqua? Are you gonna take me there right now? Right now. Cause I'm talking right now, Aqua. Oh yeah, I'm talking right now, Aqua. Cause you're gonna have to surf this wave. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about the maternity basins, the birth of Sintiolo, the young god of corn and man, a chromatic opposition, the black and red. You see what's going on? A chromatic opposition of black and red. And what's going on right now? This so-called fight between who? Between who? I mean, do we gotta get it? A chromatic opposition, even though they're both one and the same. You can't talk Adam without this Negro, and you can't get this Negro without the Adam. And they mean the same. So the opposition, black, red, a rectangular configuration, open on one side denoting the house, and more generally in actinatio bustle, that ultimately refers to fertilization. In this same codex, a representation of Tamoanchan suggests the act of descending. Tamoa could constitute the lexical core of the name that refers to the place. In effect, the character embracing the broken plant is in position of descent, which is true, right? Because when we're looking at oh boy, he's going down. So him going down is the opposite of anion. Oh my goodness, I'm tripping now. Cause now he's the opposite of anion, right? He is on the cathode. He is on the cathode going down. He is the opposite. So they chopped off your tree and we went down. You see how deep this is, ShaBaTaHaWa? Surfed away, but natural by law right now. Allahua. I mean, I can't believe it. So the Tamoanchan is facing down because the tree is broken, and he has been, she has been, they have been, we have been disconnected from our root. We have been disconnected from our root. Therefore, we are now the opposite of anion. We are in a state of going down. And this is represented in this tree. Do you see what's going on? I can't believe it, ShaBaTaHaWa. It says the different contexts cited here define the semantic character of Tamoanchan as a matrix place located in the interior geography of the indigenous peoples where beings, foods, plants, and nations originate. Surfed away. Told you, every time we upload, we make them tell the truth. Every time we upload, we make them tell the truth. You see what's going on? Wow. Allahua, Tawada, Aman, Abba. Says the origin of the word Tamoanchan. The etymology of a word is as indicated by the Greek phase from which it was formed, the truth, the root of said word. That is the original idea that presided over the verbal configuration of a notion or a concept. And you know, every time we surf the wave, we're building in etymology. So that should let you know every time we open the drop what we're building it in. That frequency and vibration is an original idea dealing with the connection of the root in which the DNA of this word was formed. We are simply tying it with the truth. See what's going on? You know what I'm saying? The Aquas don't refer to the Khan as the Khan of etymology for any reason. We're really surfing away. Alright, it says in Nawal, the term refers to the root is composed of the truth. You see what's going on? Of the truth. The morpheme Hawa, which indicates the possession or the simple presence of something, and Yoto, a morpheme of abstraction, literally would be that which contains the truth. So this word means that which contains the truth. Nel Hawayodo, right? Nel Hawayodo, which simply means the truth. That which contains the truth, the conceptual essence of the meaning produced by the word. As we have already pointed out, the signifier Tamoanchan does not have a directly apprehensible meaning. It is a place name that has an essentially vocative function, so the verbal elements that compose it lost their grammatical or lexical contours through the phonetic erosion dodge all hijacks that resulted from their repeating enunciation in solemn context, in which the acoustic image of the concept gradually imposed itself on the meaning that its constituent parts might have had one day. The epiphoric image of the sound imposed itself of the diaphoric meaning that the predicate might have had. However, although the vocative function displaced the etymological predicate, the logic that presided over the linguistic configuration of the idea could present in the verbal palimpsest of the word. All right. And I just think that it's funny because what they're saying is that these translations from different tribes outside of the original Tamoanchan led to the so-called distortion or disruption of the original meaning. But we know it's just translating back to these cons, because we just got how it was the disconnection of their anion. See what's going on? So it says versions of Sahagan's informants. The concern to know the origin of the word Tamoanchan is not new. Indeed, since the 16th century, probably under the inquisitorial pressure of the compiler, the indigenous informants of Sahagan expressed their opinion regarding the origin and meaning of the word. All right. It says according to Tamoa Tokan, we are looking for our home. According to what the elders in whose possession were the paintings and memories of ancient things affirm, those who first came to populate this land, this New Spain, surfed the wave, right? They came from the north in search of the earthly paradise. They had the surname Tamoanchan, and that is what they say now. Tiktamoa Tekan, or Tokan. Tiktamoa Tekan, which means we are looking for our natural home. ShaBaTaHaWa. I mean, are they talking to us or what? Are they talking to us or what? Tamoanchan, our natural home. Our natural home. Halahawa. Oh man, what a drop this has been thus far. Wow. If we take Sahagan's words literally, Tamoanchan is a gentilic or an identity cry and not a toponym. It would be an archaic way of saying Tiktamoa Tokan. In this same mythical historical context, although in another story, Sahagan informant gives a simplified version of the etymology of Tamoanchan. No matter what they want to say, we're still getting back to our natural regnum, which is our Anion kingdom. And I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. 'Cause this is just my message to you, ShaBaTaHaWa, strictly for my tribe. Strictly for my tribe. And I hope you are feeling the vibes. I hope you are feeling the vibes. 'Cause I am losing my mind right now. ShaBaTaHaWa. You know what I'm saying? Can't make up a vibe like this. From Tamoanchan, with two turns joined, we would have gradually passed to Tamoanchan through an apocope of the syllable to Tamoanchan, an assimilation of the E of te to the A, Tamoanchan, and the epithetic appearance of the nasal consonant in Tamoanchan, probably generated by the proximity of the M, Tom, and the N of Khan. Alright? We're surfing the wave, ShaBaTaHaWa. A gloss of the image of Tamoanchan in the Codex gives another meaning to the verb tamoa. And that sounds like, Tamoa, when you surf the wave, right? Tamoa, right? I mean, surf the wave. It says, although it is written in Spanish, the informant was probably an indigenous person. Of course. Who else is gonna volunteer this wata? It can't be the people hopping off the boat. It says Tamoanchan, which means the house where you get off. That's crazy, right? No pun intended. It says the signifier Tamoa could refer to search, but it can correspond to an impersonal form of the verb to go down. Tamoanchan would then mean the house where one goes down. This version is the one given in the Codex. Tamoanchan, or Zushili Yakakan, means in Romance, there is their house where they went down and where their roses are. An image from the Codex Borgia seems to confirm this version. I just wonder if this has any, significance or correlation to the Caesar Borgia, right? As it's in the same vibration. And they're hijacking stories of your America flow to develop theirs. It says the position of the character suggests a descent along the axis that represents the broken plant. This version coincides with the proposal of many contemporary researchers. In a similar way to the previous diachronic phenomenon, the evolution of the word Tamoanchan would have been the following: assimilation of the E and of the TED to the surrounding A, as that would have been or have given Tamoanchan an epithetic appearance of the phoneme, and due to the proximity of the M of Tom and the N of Khan, giving Tamoanchan. Alright? It says the Nawa origin of the word, a proposal. Assuming that the word Tamoanchan is located in the Nawa linguistic sphere and that it does not mean anything as such, it is likely that the derived forms in which it appears in indigenous texts corresponding to the time of contact with the Spanish are the results of the phonetic evolution of a word or an expression throughout history. It is important to point out that the diachronic study of the verbal form Tamoanchan that we carry out in this work does not seek to establish rules of systematic changes that concern the evolution of the Nawa language, but rather considers the morphological modalities of the phonetic erosion of a look at the verbiage, the erosion of a petrified syntagm in an appellative function. The nominative function of said syntagm means that the rules of its evolution must be differentiated from those that could have presided over the evolution of the language as such. In this context, it is likely that the morphophonemic changes of the original phrase have tended to preserve the iconicity of the grammatical predicate in the process of toponymic substantiation. They use all these big words just to say that they don't understand the translation because it is eroded or petrified, which probably means Paleo-Hebrew, right? Just like how these Jews, these small hats, can't rock with your ancient Hebrew, right? Your Paleo-Hebrew. They can't speak it. So they created Yiddish, right? And added glottal points for pronunciation through manipulate soundings with vowels, right? Because we were people that didn't use vowels, just consonants. And they don't know how to speak like that because it's all pure vibration at that point. You know what I'm saying? Why they have to beat your language out of you. This is why they have to beat your language out of you. Big facts. It says from the syntagm to the paradigm, as we saw earlier, the different narrative contexts in which Tamoanchan is integrated define both the semantic tenor of the word and the matrixical origin of everything that enters the existential dimension, be it humans, nation, animals, or plants. So Tamoanchan's is the matrix, which refers right back to Amma, right? Which is why we got that tree. And you know what tree we're talking about. We're going to get to it. Surf the wave. It says, now, according to the dynamics of Nahuatl nominalization, the significant sound sequence corresponding to this meaning must entail, in one way or another, this symbolic seed. You see what's going on? This symbolic seed is an isomorphism between sound and meaning, must reflect the concept in the word. Among numerous functions of communication and expression that concern language, there is the ability to name beings and things, not only so that they are present in a referential manner in the linguistic system, but also so that they constitute conceptual links in the verbal structuring of meaning. And this reminds me of Adam, where he went to go naming and giving the beasts and the plants and the things of the earth their names. The way when he spoke that vibration, it stuck, it was attached, it became what it was, the embodied frequency of this vibration. In addition to direct normalization, there is a marked tendency in Nahuatl to refine verbal complexes through a nominal lexicalization of their constituent parts, a tendency that sometimes implies morphophonemic changes. Below we give some examples of the lexicalization that may support the etymology that we propose for Tamoanchan. Alright, so I'm pretty sure they're gonna, you know what I mean, spin off with their hijack right here, but let's get the wave right here, right? It says the hieronyms, which are basically the hieroglyphs, you know, but they don't want to call them hieroglyphs because they don't want to say that this is the Medu Neter, right? And that's the only thing that gives the so-called hieroglyphs their significance, the Medu Neter, which is really the language of nature, right? The language of nature, which is sound and phonetics. This is what we're talking about. But once you start talking hieronyms and you say, well, we're speaking in maybe that which was produced before the Medu Neter, it gets controversial. because we're talking about the names of some guys that are examples of noun-based grammatical constructions. The adjective, right, of Ipal-ne-monai, right, attributed to Quetzalcoatl, for example, was constructed from the verbal phrase Ipal-ne-moa, one lives thanks to him. The noun-based particle pt.4 or Kahawa, one of the many names of Tezcatlipoca, actually means we are his men. Alright? One of the most interesting cases is undoubtedly the son in gestation in the version of the Legend of the Suns. In fact, the name Tonatiuh that was given to it, then a name that had corresponded to the 4 previous eras, is composed of a verbal nucleus tona, there is light or heat. See what's going on? An extroversion suffix that indicates a progressive present or a future. Thea, right? Thea, literally what is considered a noun or proper name, is a verbal syntagm that means there will be light or heat. We cannot make this up, ShaBaTaHaWa. I told you we're talking to Ethereans, because they're saying by naming the king star. What? The king star as Tonatiuh, the ancient Nahuatls fix in a nominal substance, the internal and elusive futurization of time. Bang! For all the little homies in the back of the class, man. Bang! You know what I'm saying? Because what has naturally been surfing the wave on? Allahuwa. You know what I'm saying? This kind of wave right here is what charges me up, ShaBaTaHaWa. This is what gets me out here surfing that Wata. You see what's happening? It says the original phrase, Tamoanchan, right? Considering the matrixial, textual and contextual character generated by the stories that comprise it, Tamoanchan could originate from the phrase Tamoanchan, literally our house where one exists. The construction is grammatically archetypal of the polysynthetic integration of adjectival or verbal modifiers in a syntagm. The proposition that gave rise to the word, according to the hypothesis that we put forth here, contains the following elements. Alright, and they're still digging on this, you know, trying to make it make sense out of house. You know, and I mean, everything that we've gotten out of here. I mean, let's continue, right? How could Tamoanchan have been transformed into Tamoanchan throughout history? First, due to the continuous repetition of the phrase, which caused its overall form to undergo changes that refer to the universal rule of least effort. In effect, if the grammatical construction Tamoanchan used by speakers in normal expressive context did not imply any change, when it was used nominally to refer to a specific religious concept, the iteration of its use caused it to be transformed according to the determinisms of a enunciative economy mentioned above and its own symbolism. From Tamoanchan to Tamoanchan, the etymological evolution could have taken place as follows. A syncopation first reduced Tamoanchan to Tamoanchan, syncopation is in fact a very common phenomenon in the evolution of Nahuatl. Proof of this are the following examples of forms that coexist. Alright? And they're talking about the different terms for these words. Alright? Atimuiakak for Atimahuyak, UK, right? And so forth. Alright. So they're talking about, I mean, just the degradation of the name, how it used to mean this and how it could have ended up at the point where, you know what I'm saying, it now means all these different terms. But every time we get to really breaking down the real origin of its true meaning, it's always leading back to that Wata tying in with you. Right? And this having an ancient vibration, an ancient meaning, significance. Because now we're talking about a place of the crossing, as in Tamoanchan, which is the wave, right? Tamoanchan being the wave. You know? We're talking about this drop that we put together. It's like, man, I never saw any of this happening, any of this coming forth the way that it did, right? It says, let's get this little part before we carry on, right? The phonetic erosion, well, the sound iconicity of the word Tamoanchan. It says the phonetic erosion of the verbal syntagms, or syntagms, Tamoa, Tokan, Tamoa, Temoakan, to Ton, or Tomoakan, to Tom, Hua, I don't know. Over time, stripped them of their grammatically structured meaning to leave a sound sequence Tamoanchan with nominative power, although without directly comprehensible meaning except for the last syllable, Khan, which refers to house. Now, it was undoubtedly the constant repetition of the name in mythical ritual context that caused the phonetic erosion of a syntagm, originally more explicitly referential than nominal, the religious determinisms of invocation as well as the iconicity of the verbal edolan must have directed its evolution towards a more pregnant sonority, more evocative of what it represented or incarnated, the origin. The fertilizing power of the word and more generally of sound is manifest in Nahuatl culture. The creation of man, as we have already pointed out, is carried out when the sound produced by Quetzalcoatl's breath in his conch shell penetrates in the sexual sense of the word into Meglantecutli ear, alright? Into her ear, and that's what we got with that buzzing sound. Now, if the sound fertilizes, the word sculpted in the sound matter could have an even more fertilizing power due to the semantic germs it contains, which is a Naga's energy, right? That source, that powwow. We're talking about your Dracons, right? Or the pregnant forms that pure sound can take on. And this is that power of Aqua that we're continuously building on. It says, in addition to the meaning of a word, such as the one analyzed here, the semantic fields of phonetically related words can provoke paronomastic effects and sound affinities that can help stabilize its evolution in a stable verbal form that synthesizes, that crystallizes the mythologically diffused idea of the origin, which when pronounced or sung can make it felt in a visceral way. So we're talking about damn near out-of-body experience with the correct pronunciation of this word when we're putting it and invoking it into a certain manner. And this is just how powerful, you know what I'm saying, this Tamoanchan was. Alright, because it says that Tamoanchan, it meant to incarnate. So we're talking about speaking into being, or bringing into being, or pulling into being, huh? Yeah, we talking about a deep wave surfing. A deep wave surfing, ShaBaTaHaWa. And we're gonna continue to surf this wave. Aha. Cause see, when they're talking this Hawasteka origin, they're talking this Tamoanchan vibration. And when talking this Tamoanchan vibration, as you can see, they always depict themselves looking very Naga-like. It's like the further you go back with these guys, the more Naga they become. And you know, that's the wave they don't like when you diving into this Wata. You know? And diving into this Wata, well, now I can imagine, I can understand why they would give the Aquas such hell, such fire. You know what I'm saying? Because when we're digging with this Hawa stack, when we're building on this Hawa stack, the origin of these Tamoanchans, where our Aquas, them Naginis, these lady dragons, these goddesses, where they sit at the height of society. You know what I'm saying? And these modern men, you know what I mean? These new Nagas, they don't like that very much. You know, they don't like that very much. They don't like being reminded that they were supported, and they've always been supported by Ama, by the Aqua. You know what I'm saying? That's an uncomfortable reminder. But you got it. You see the name. It's the goddess of nourishment. You know what I'm saying? Veda Cruz, Hawastec. We're talking Tamoanchans. Because yes, that con goes, you know what I'm saying, to our Aquas and our Ox. It says an archaeological piece of the Mexican culture of the late post-classic period. It represents whatever this name would be, right? The one that paints the face with bells. This sculpture shows a bell on the only visible cheek. She is known as a decapitated, dismembered woman with warrior trappings, wearing a feather plume and circular eagle feathers on her hair. This piece is found in the Templo Mayor Museum in Mexico City. Alright, and seeing how this is an aqua that's all chopped up, you know what I'm saying? It made me think of the stories we hear about Nimrod, or so-called, what is it? Osiris, Horus, whoever got chopped up. And how she got this way, according to legend, you know what I'm saying? I'm not sure. But, you know, I can definitely see this still being enacted today. Because no matter what they say, them aquas have always been a part of the picture, you know what I'm saying? Even as a Khan was doing his thing, the aqua was always there in assistance. If she wasn't the one calling the shots. You know what I'm saying? Because contrary to belief, these aquas was calling the shots. A lot of them were. We just got it, right? We just got it with the goddess here. You know what I mean? And this is the kind of reminder that it'll get to them. You know what I'm saying? Because we got what was spilling out of that tree, right? What was oozing out of that tree. So we know what's going on. And we know that that tree was an aqua frequency. We're talking goddess frequency. You know? Because the aquas, they always had that man flowing. And they always kept the man flowing. You know, but you got these parasites that switch that from sight. You know, but we're just reminding you. We're just reminding you, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause she's been running things. She's been running things. You know, how else do you think it is that you got here? That you entered the Matrix? You know, and this is what we mean when we're talking about this portal. When we're talking about this Matrix, this matrice. You know what I'm saying? Because we're just talking about that liquid of life, that sustenance, you know what I'm saying? They was talking about this tree was overflowing, supplying the life forms around it, around her, with this milk, with this precious milk, with this breast milk of life. And we see the tree right in front of her. We can still see the tree right in front of her. So we know we're still talking the same entity. You You know what I mean? And you can see the Khan, you can see the Nagas, so we know we're talking Nagas. You know what I mean? The icons of these sounds. ShaBaTaHaWa. You know? Because you had some men who weren't too happy that you were capable of such things, that you could nurse a society. You know, because at the same time, we had these invaders who saw that as a way for them to coexist, to use you as this bridge. And they began to use the Aquas as such a bridge, as they began to run their experiments. You know, there was an ugly picture to this too, Aqua, when you weren't keeping the code, when you weren't in line with your masculine, leaving your feminine wide open. Some terrible things began to take place. Because we're talking about the Zetepi, Khan. We're talking before these incubator babies. Nah, we're talking about the first graphene. You know what I'm saying? Because these guys, they came from a place that was foreign. You see what's going on? You see what he's offering up? You see what this is right here? You see what they're offering up? You see what this looks like? You see what this looks like right here? You see what's going on? Are you surfing the wave? You see what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Because I remember when I first came across these, and it was the realest thing. You know, and I was just like, man, what is this? And they was coming out with all kinds of water, all kinds of wata. As soon as I started making wind of it, as soon as I started making sense of it, all the sources started deleting themselves. Now everything's a hoax, everything's a lie. But I was surfing the wave of this on some time. I mean, we're talking about like 6-7 years ago. And I still kept all my receipts, all my digital artifacts. And now I'm lining it up, right? Because if you pay attention to the head, I mean, look at the head shape. Peep the head shape, huh? Look at the head shape, they're very precise. Peep what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Because this was too accurate for it to be a hoax, in my opinion. Now, this is in so-called India of today, right? But peep what's going on. It looks like you got a pig upside down. I mean, look at the head structure. Again, it's quite similar, right? Beast amongst beasts, sitting down, hands and feet. I mean, to me, they look like dog heads. To me, they look like Canaanites. Huh? I mean, surf the wave. You see the shape of the heads, right? You see the shape of the heads. Pay attention, because we're still talking shape of the heads, right? Now watch, surf the wave. You know what I'm saying? Look at the shape of the head. Peep it. We're still talking a feminine-like entity, a feminine-like humanoid, which is why the Aqua became such a centerpiece, such a focus. Because you had other beings that wanted to live, you know what I'm saying? Just like you. Just like how you did. You know what I'm saying? And they used that Aqua in these images where they showcased it. Because as you can see, we have an ancient Aqua right here, right? But then it looks like something's coming out of this Aqua. And now look at the shape of this thing. And look how it's coming directly from her. Look, she has on shoes. So you know she's definitely humanized. You see what's going on? And look at her, you know what I mean? She's looking up. Now if we go back, this thing has similar head shape to what we were already looking at, which is why Natural told you he was keeping the receipts on such things, huh? You see what's happening? You see what's going on? You see what's going on? So you had these cons who didn't like this. They didn't like the idea that this was, you know what I'm saying, popping off. And rightfully so, Aqua. Rightfully so, because now look what's going on, right? This is unnatural. Surf the wave. You see what's going on? We're talking genetic experiments. I told you this was popping off, right, all across the globe. And she knows what's going on. She knows what she's being used for. You know what I mean? You see what's happening? Now, if this was depicted on rocks, on stones and carvings, I'm pretty sure this was the drop that got you up out of here. You know what I'm saying? This was the drop that got you up out of here. Because this was a natural process that was mutated, corrupted, and disrespected. You know what I'm saying? Because that translation means mother giving birth to a new hybrid breed. You surfing the wave? This pre-Mayan tablet, along with the Paleolithic Venus, the Venus before our era, and the ancient mother goddess, gives us an idea of how the current human appeared after various hybridizations, since there was other very previous human races whose traces hid the elite through obscurantism, their well-paid lackeys in the religions that they contributed to create as we know them today. And we just surfed the wave on the Tamoanchan that were the origin of this very thing. So you see, these are the hybrids or the creation of the various humans coming out of the Tamoanchan. We cannot make this up. You know what I'm saying? We cannot make this up. Because when we're surfing the wave, you know what I mean? If we're not talking about variations, then how do you explain shit like this? You know what I mean? How do you explain shit like this? Because we're still talking about the same structure of this head. Right? We're still talking the same structure of this head. Now, how is that? How's that, huh? So we know how these other beings came into being. And Aqua wasn't a good thing which you was being used for. So we know why what was going on. We know the anger behind what was going on. And this is why I say that we are now reintroducing the order to that chaos. Because when the chaos is in order, you get resonances and frequencies and vibration like this. You get a harmonizing flow. You get law. You get order. You get process. You get instruction. You get growth, you get life, you get attraction, you get stimulation, you get build, you get foundation, you get appreciation, you get gratification. ShaBaTaHaWa. Cause the Aquas have always been the factor. The Aquas have always been the factor. They've always referred to Aqua as the booty. She has always been the booty. She has always been the treasure. You know what I'm saying? She has always been the treasure. She has always been the gold. You know what I mean? Because it is the Aqua. It is the Aqua, the Nagini. It is the Aqua, the Nagini. You know what I'm saying? It's the Nagini that brings us through the spiral, through the portal, through the gate, through the matrice, through the matrix that is the life. Hawa, Tawada for the high vibrations. You know what I'm saying? For the high vibrations. It's the Nagini, the lady dragon that's gonna get us here, and that's natural by law. Because when we're talking natural by law, well, Aqua's always doing her thing. You know what I'm saying? Aqua's always doing her thing. Big Mama's always doing her thing. Ama's always doing her thing. You know what I'm saying? Them Aqua's always doing their thing. You know what I mean? But it wasn't cool that these other forms of life were able to manipulate her womb to live this life. That ain't right. Because, you know, when you're natural by law, you don't have to paint your skin just to embrace what the ancients did. So let's start the wave. Max say hi to you, ShaBaTaHaWa. Shalom. Cause see, when I mentioned that we didn't need to paint our skin, well, the ancients depicted who they were as well. You know what I'm saying? When we're talking about these Jaguar priests, I ask you, well, why would one depict themselves in such a way? Especially in today's timing, right? Because that would look a certain way. And that's that kind of look that'll get a knock of cancer. Because when we're talking about these Jaguar priests, we're talking about a right, something that was gained, right? This was an honor, a recognition, warrior status. So notice how all of these Nagas are the same complexion, meaning that they didn't put paint on themselves. Notice how they're all Jaguar priests. So if this is the case, what was Khan wearing in the beginning, huh? What was Khan wearing in the beginning? Alright, furthermore, Aqua, when we're paying attention to these Jaguar priests, and we see that how you, Aqua, were, you know what I'm saying, the reason this hybrid was able to exist. Well, can we see what's going on now? Can we see what this hijack, this hybrid is now wearing? Are you seeing clearly now? Do you really see what's going on? keep in mind in the ancient texts, in our ancestral writings, right? It'll tell you that Esau was the one, Edom, right? Edom was the one that was actually the one who killed Nimrod, right? Slew Nimrod and took the ancestral coverings, the skins, the clothing, the cloth. And this is how Esau got the powwow, the power. And you see the animal that he's holding. You think it's a coincidence? You think it's a coincidence when we're building on Jaguar priests? Huh? When we're talking about your ancient Levitical ones, you think it's some coincidence? You know what I'm saying? When we're talking about those of the woodlands, you think it's some coincidence? You know what I mean? Because now that we can see clearly, if you surf the wave with Anion, well, we know who this is, right, Khan? If you surfing the wave with Anion, well, we know who this is. Straight out of the cave. You know what I'm saying? See, I got to show you the image that you're not made in so you can recognize the image you are made in. I bet you hear me now, huh? HaLaHaWa. You know, now that you know you're not in the image of the beast. Now that you know you're not in the image of the beast. I bet it feel good now to know you are in the image of Hawa. Tawada to Ama and Abba. You are on the ether bus, surfing the wave with natural by law. Oh yeah, the price went up, ShaBaTaHaWa. The price has went up, ShaBaTaHaWa. Cause they ain't never getting this bad. They ain't never getting this bad. So we gonna carry on. We got some more drops to get into. I don't know, I'm feeling so charged up. I'm like, we can keep on pressing, you know what I'm saying? So let's continue. Maximum Mayhop to the real ones. So, in part 3, we left off right here. You know what I'm saying? I thought it's only right that we continue from here. We're gonna get all this Wata, ShaBaTaHaWa. You know what I'm saying? Most High willing. They'll never look at the old mix the same after we're done with this. You know what I'm saying? HaLaHaWa. Let's get it the right way. They're gonna stress us out. Surf the wave, real ones. You know what I mean? And again, we're doing our best.
Take continent to introduce it to its new homeland, the Tulans da Cusidida of the sun. But if this is the place where the primitive American trialists took their origin and this is the religion whose shadow they developed, then it was perfectly natural to associate their homeland Tamoanchan, as they did with the original tree 6 of the Visla. Therefore, this symbolism is one more proof that indeed this Tamoanchan and the Tulan of the sunrise are identical, one as historical as the other. We have called it natural that the ancient Americans symbolized the Tamoanchan, the common native land, through the first original tree Chichiwalkawiti. Then, to be consistent, they must have considered themselves both children of one and the other. And so it actually happens. Of the Toltec they tell us Sahagan and Ishlilo Chittle that their true name had been Chichimeca. And they prided themselves on that name. One with this they undoubtedly wanted to indicate the true meaning of Toltecal, who without the possibility of equivocation in mammon. A creature that feeds on milk, the same as Chichimin, whose intimate relationship with Chichihualcoahuil is obvious. Being the Chichibualcoahuil, in Mayan, the Tutul Shin. It is clear that between told cattle and Tutul Shin originally there was the same relationship as in Nahuatl between Chichimi and Chichihualcoahuil. The identical Intenlapendanine is noted. Furthermore, between the Tree of Life, the first, original tree, and the names of many other of the ancient civilized nations. We will consider, for example, the origin and name of the Zapotine. Regarding the first, Bergen too says that some of them, to boast of their courage, called themselves children of lions and various ferocious animals. Others, lords of ancient lineage. Were produced by the largest and most shady trees, while others, of hard and obstinate character, were descendants of the rocks, etc. It is seen that the lords of ancient lineage descended from those primitive trees, undoubtedly the four Tutul show of the Mayan tradition, and that kinship is also expressed in the name of this town. ShaBaTaHaWa is derived from the sapot, symbol of the tree of life of this tribe. Now, sapot is a word of main affiliation, and should really be read as Zakpote. A tree that gives a white coagulation, sel chicle, zapoteco, since, as a tribal name, it is nothing other than a synonym for Tultecal and Chichimecal. Another tribe, which undoubtedly belonged to the worshippers of the Tree of Life and derived its origin from it, was that of the Ulmin Shikalan Ca. This is certainly what the first of these names declares. Since Uli is nothing other than coagulated tree milk, but also in the name of Shikalanka we have an allusion to the same tree, being.
So this is crazy. Now they're saying the name of these Olmecs come from this coagula tree milk. You hear what's really being said? They're actually saying that the Tamoanchan, these ancient Olmecs of the natural realm, you got it right, this Tamoanchan meaning the natural realm of this tree of breast milk, this breast milk of flowing tree, this tree of life. You see what's happening? And so that this tree produced this breast milk. And that's how the Olmecs got into this. You know what I mean? Because this old mean is actually the old men. Alright? The old men. And we'll be able to get the rest of that. Maybe there might be one more installment. Surfing away. Maybe there might be one more. But you got part 3. You know what's going on. We're just finishing up. Shalom, you know what I'm saying? We're just surfing away. Let's get it. Hey, how to the real ones.
According to the Popol Vuh, the Shikara tree, the one in the middle of the road that, as cold as the head of Hunhun Ahpu who had been murdered by the kings of Xibalbay, Hun Kame and Cub Kame, was placed in its branches, is covered with shikara fruits that to this day bear the name of the rosazinated god, from the lineage of the Quetzalcoatl. It is possible to see in this duality of the surname of the Ulmin Shikalainen an allusion to the water and bread of life, and to draw from it that this tribe represents an older phase of the cult of the Tree of Life. Indeed, Iqlil Xochitl makes, regarding them, the observation that not only had there been a single tribe, although with a double name, but that the Toltec had been the third settlers of this land, if the giants were placed first and the Ulmin Shikalanka second.
What?
To another tribal name that is evident proof that those who bore it considered themselves children of the Tree of Life is that of the Itanes.
Wow.
Precursors of the Mayans. There do not seem to exist traditions regarding their origin, but its relationship with Itztate, the liquidambar tree, Itzamat, the Saba, the sacred tree, on the one hand, and It Tansel, the exudation of the gum of the trees, the exuded gum, and Itzamna, the god of the Itzays, is so clear that no special traditions are needed to clarify the origin and affiliation of this tribe. The same can be said of the Quiches, whose descent from the four Tutul show is, furthermore, documented. 3. We find in their language the theme yi, vit, yitz, equivalent to the Mayan itz 6ytz, meaning yitz, in Quiche, to squeeze and also the squeezed juice. It is, furthermore, Quiche, originally Quitse or Vite, as proven by the name given in the Popol Vuh to the first of the four Tutul show in which is Balam Quitse. Likewise, the Chocchicals, close relatives of the Mayans, claim to be descendants of the Tree of Life because their name is derived, according to their annals, from the Kakashe, the red tree of blood, which, along with all the civilized nations of American antiquity, is the symbol of vital energy. We also find this people still in possession of the original idea of the Tree of Life, since it is found recorded in their annals, in a passage relating to the creation of man, that when he was created, he was fed with wood, he went there, minted with leaves. We saw that in the painting of the Rios Codex, it is precisely the leaves of the Tree of Life that distill the milk with which the Chichimecos feed the capital of this tribe, before the...
See, and it's that right there that pisses modern man off, because he doesn't know how to take pride and be sustained and being refreshed within his breast milk, this breast milk which is the Tree of Life. And that is Aqua bestowing her everlasting flow through suckling. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. Because, Akan wants to feel like a man. You know what I'm saying? Akan wants to be out here like a man. And he wants to feel that vibe. You know what I'm saying? That's something that I can interdig. You know what I mean? But when I'm with my Aqua, you know what I'm saying? And I make her interdig me. You get what I mean? Well, when it gets to that suckling time, I see nothing wrong. I see nothing wrong with letting Aqua do what her job is, what an Aqua is supposed to do. And that's a charge. You know what I'm saying? In fact, I call that a recharge. And I don't mind when Aqua goes to recharge. You know what I mean? In fact, that's something that I would invite. And not just for the sake, but I mean for the actual fact and the realization that this is what Aqua does. You know what I'm saying? So surfing the wave with a natural elemental, you know what I'm saying? She's gonna feel this reciprocation. You know what I mean? Because I'm gonna give her this reciprocation. That way she recognizes her reflection. Because I will admit, it is out of hand. We're talking Tree of Life. And those niggas who are from this Tree of Life, you know what I mean? We gonna surf the wave. Hopefully our translation is A-OK. Max A-Ha. Let's go.
Conquest bore the name of Ixamshe, synonymous with the previously discussed Ixante, a name that later the Tlaxcaltine who accompanied Alvarado translated completely correctly with Cuauhtemalan. Guatemala. The Chinpanecas also belong to the tribes whose homeland must have been the American Tamoanchan, because, says Softex de la Vega in his Diocesan Institutions. And they consider it very certain that the roots of that CEIFM are where their lineage comes from. Burgoa de los Mixtecos says something similar. The ruling family claimed to be the descendant of two young people born from two majestic trees in the Apoala ravine. In general, whatever direct or indirect data exists regarding the origin and affiliation of the civilized nations of America proves that their original homeland was that Tulan of Sunrise or the beginning of the Toiteca era. If the influence of the ancient native land and the cult practiced there was originally so great that the principal civilized nations of American antiquity derived their name from it, it must be assumed that its influence in other senses was no less great, and that, for example, it left 3 deep traces on the way of thinking. And that this was indeed the case is fully proven by the writing system in vogue among the Mayans. 2. Landa, page 242. We will examine, for example, the first of its day signs, Imix. Fig. 3. The means woman, Ix, of Tit, I am, that is, Chichiwa, a concept related with all the greater probability to the primitive tree. As imixal sign pre-solar, 103, 104, 105, 100, mir. That of the origin, that tree also being the first, the original. As we saw, the leaves of this tree were considered to be the organs that distilled milk, the breasts of a loving mother, and, indeed, Núñez de la Vega says about the first day sign, Imox, of the Chiapas, which corresponds to the main, Imix. 3 Imoxi, their veneration refers to the ceiba, the original tree of this tribe. According to its name, we find that the shape of this sign is that of a female breast, indicating the copal points around the nipple and the CIH stripes next to the base, which is a breast of a lactating woman. X the explanation of the 19th day sign of the Ma.
You know what I'm saying? We're just talking signs of life. We're just talking signs of life. When you're talking signs of life, well, that's when the Aqua needs that reciprocation the most, you know what I mean? Especially if she's in line. Especially if all she does is reflect your shine. You know, but not every Naga see it like that. Not every Aqua Nagini sees it like that. And that's what we're hoping to get back. You know what I'm saying? This is the patching, the fusion, the coming together, the anion, the union, circled away. Let's go.
Yas, Khan, Fig, 4. Mr. Soler believes one that the meaning of this word is Shubasko, Gaziro, meaning lightning and thunder, and in accordance with this he sees in the glyph this sign, which resembles an Ava, a cumulus of clouds. However, the explanation given by him does not seem to be entirely in accordance with the ideas of the ancient Americans regarding this sign. At least if we take into account figure number 5, which is the reproduction of a detail existing in Stela J of Köppen. In the center of it we see the symbol of Chihabawol Kunwiel, the sign Imix, below, from which the savin of this springs in beautiful and large drops, similar to precious stones, Chalchiwheel, producing the sign Anune. This process, in Mayan, was called mole accumulation. And this is probably the explanation we should prefer, since it generally does not affect Mr. Soler at all, since the god of the tree of life is also the god of water fertilizers.
Bang.
Fig. 6. When this one, Itzamna, was asked what the meaning of his name was, he replied that Itzan Khan, Itzan Muyal, Id. Est, I am the dew of the sky. The humidity of the clouds. If the exudation of the Chichiwalkawi tea tree was highly esteemed, the humidity distilled was no less so. G. Demandi Lay, Central American Biology, Volume 1, Place 68, Köppen. Stela J, West Face. Goes through the clouds. This seems to have been the interdependence of these two concepts in the indigenous mind. Otherwise, the majority of Khan Glyphics consists of a small cross that means tree, wood, and, in addition, indications of a nipple surrounded by copal points and CIB rays. Evidently, due to its character, this sign is closely related to the original tree. No less interesting in this sense is the second-day sign of the Mayans, IK. Figs, 7 and 8. It means the word wind, sexalation, spirits, and for that reason it has a certain affiliation with the tree referred to, but even more explicit is the glyph that consists of its pair.
Alright, so we're talking about this aqua, you know what I'm saying? Dripping this big drop. You know what I'm saying? That's what they were talking about. This drop, because she is this tree of life and this bringer of water, this goddess of water. You see what's going on? Right, they're talking about big, beautiful, large drops. Beautiful, large drops. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about this tree of life. We're talking about the dripping of these aquas. Right? Talking about the dripping of these aquas. We're also talking about this glyph, this copal. Now, I was surfing the wave on this copal and this original tree of life, and it really blew my mind. Just exactly what I was able to find, ShaBaTaHaWa. Cause this is no joke. You know what I mean? Surfing the wave on this, it was no joke. So let's see, we gonna get it real quick in real time, and if it pops up in here, then you'll know exactly what I meant. But if not, we will come back to get it back. And I do want to say we are highlighting everything and it's bunching up all of this little stuff. So it does happen to, get caught up in our translation. So Max Ahab and Tawada for your patience on that. You know what I mean? Because that's something that I can't help. But you see how we're digging on Aqua energy, you know what I'm saying? And the original Marukan frequency. And we're dealing with the suppression and such knowledge of this topic, in fact, and damn, this is disrespectful. Why is it skipping over everything? And we're highlighting these things, you know what I mean? We're bringing it back to the front, back to the headlines, because in order to get as high as we want, we're gonna need, we're gonna need our aquas just as much as our ox to be right there in line, in unison. That's the whole point, in unison, to get this sense of togetherness. And none of this is gonna work. What's going on? It's getting real. Let's check this out. That's how they're gonna do it. Come on, man. My bad, ShaBaTaHaWa. Bear with me. I'm not used to doing this. I'm definitely not used to doing this. Alright, let's get the translation. Man, it's crazy. Doing all this for translation. Certain way. Getting the drop.
Essential te, of a more or less large con, sometimes reduced to a single drop penile of a curved line of special character, as well as with the Nahones we find that the sign ko salur 200 corresponding to the Mayan Ik, which is ihekati, in the codices is interpreted by means of the kodal, sign of the vital force and of generation, remembering Quetzalcoatl, the god of generation and of fertility par excellence. 2. Landa, page 242. Cod, DMSD, 2 Florida. 7. The Alip Ik occurs in the Con Glyph. Theo, 10, Ichiro CM. Cod, Dread 6. The relationship with the Chahibu Alcauid is also perfectly obvious. Of the 16th Mayan day sign, CIB, the meaning of the word is copal, wax, resin, and the glyph also alludes to that. Which in most cases is a drop of sap or resin that, because it is black, recalls the uli. Fig,
Did y'all hear
10,
that?
a thread hangs from this drop, remembering that it is a fallen drop or in the act of falling. Of a resinous substance. Frequently there is in the CIB glyph a second knee parallel to its upper contour, connected to it by means of translation rays. Or also these translation rays connect the CIB sign itself with the contour line. Cod, true, 101D. A combination of Sib and Kun seems to be the 17th diurnal sign of the Mayans, Kaban. Because next to a CIB drop there is another similar to that of Kaak, as we come to know it in the glyph Ik. Fig. 11. This dualism easily refers, on the one hand, to the fertilizing humidity of the clouds, on the other hand, to the capacity of the land to produce, under which the latter is also included under the symbolist cod. Dresden. 156 GP of the milk dripped from the tree, or food. Il cod. Tro. 713. The name of this glyph, Kaban, undoubtedly alludes to this, because kab means the accumulation or the accumulated, piled up, wax, honey, etc. The relationship that this had with the land through Kaban, perhaps results from the particular circumstance of indigenous agriculture. Of surrounding the food plant par excellence of the former, the exuberant vegetation, with Theo, 11. Il Saipo Caron.
You know what I'm saying? So this automatically is telling us that they use this copal, right? This copal. And if you really been surfing the wave with our drop on Anion, well, you should already know what time it is because we touched on this years ago. The only thing is I don't remember him realizing that this copal meant black. its resin is black. And if you understand what that means, if you know what that means when we're surfing the wave on that anion drop, then that means that this significance of this copal was its high significance to the Mayans, because this copal was black. This was the black dye. They had a resonance and a reverence for this black, this pigment. You know what I'm saying? You think that I'm playing? Let's surf the wave. Look. You know what I mean? We're talking black copal resin, right? For the spirit and metaphysical. It says the black copal resin. Black copal incense is known in Mexico as an incense burned on the Day of the Dead. It has a heavy scent similar to myrrh. It has been used for removing darker energy and exorcisms. Charcoal discs are highly recommended when using resins. Copal resin is one of the oldest forms of energy cleansing and is the best method of cleansing crystals in spaces. It is a natural tree resin in 2 states, but it is not either a hard resin or sap. It is considered sacred to the people of Mexico, South and Central America. Copal has a very long history in the spiritual and metaphysical realm for removing negative energy and restoring a sense of peace and calm. You know what I'm saying? It says down here that copal resin is a resin that has been used for meditation. Copal is associated with the crown chakra. It says black copal resin can be used for meditation. Also, it has a sweet and warm scent. If compared to benzoin or frankincense, black copal resin is said to be similar, but with a less sweet and more musky aroma. You know, so we're surfing the wave with this copal. You know what I mean? And we're getting the wata that this copal, well, this was that vital force. You know what I'm saying? This is what they were using it for, to signify this vital force of generation of Quetzalcoatl. This copal. So getting in how we got the dark waters from before, and now we're surfing the wave on this copal. This is that ping pow that, you know, oh man. You know what I'm saying? That is the bang of the bang, because this copal is in the name. Keep in mind, they had a city named Copal. So if the Mayans had a city named Copal, then this means that this is talking about the black resin. You know what I'm saying? This Glyphs alludes to that which is in most cases is a drop of sap or resin. That because it is black. You know, man. So they were been telling you about this melatonin secretion, this pineal gland secretion. You see what's happening? Let's continue to surf the wave, because, you know what I mean, they think we're playing with them. Hijack think we're playing with them. ShaBaTaHaWa. Let's go. Alright, we're gonna play with this again. Hold on, I'm being funny, excuse me. Man. What a bomb, you know what I'm saying? What a bomb. Cause it's like, yo, do they really understand who they dealing with? Do they know who they really have surfing the wave? Oh man.
CIA, corn, at a certain time of its development, land. This results in the better conservation of humidity, as well as the extirpation of harmful weeds. Growing the bushes thus cared for much more vigorously, yielding more abundant fruit. Consequently, the assumption that Koban, land or accumulation of land, refers rather to the land producing cornfields 5 fruits than to the land, in a general sense. In OR cluster, Fig. 12, Peace finds its explanation in the same way. 12. Glupo Caban, the Mayan day sign. Corresponding to the cod, tro number, place, 29.000001213P12. Rax Cole, Dread Cod, TM106C11 Grouper 4 called Khan. Fig. 13. It is possible to assume that his name is nothing more than a variant of Khan, Selah. At least this theory seems acceptable, taking into account that the name of the god Itzamna appears to be contained in the Khan glyph. The number 4, as well as the dins of this number among the Nahoas, were from Quetzal. Landa, page 242. Coati, god of fertility par excellence, of this nation, whose sacred tree was the Pachot. Now, this god is identical to the Itzamna of the Mayans, whose sacred tree is the Saba. It is said of both Quetzalcoatl and Lazamna that, although gods, they had walked in the form of men on earth.
Bang!
Many miracles are attributed to both one and the other, which is why they received the identical names of Shumak Skabal. As we saw, Itzamna, asked about the meaning of his name, answered, "It's in Khan, Itzamna. I am the dew of the sky, the humidity of the clouds," and the special confirmation of the glyph seems to be based on this interpretation. Although there are a whole series of variants of it, only in small details do they deviate from the norm included in the words cited. This is generally divided into two parts. Most of the time showing in the upper part a nipple, 6-2 Khan drops, and the Mulik glyph. This part likely means the signature. Meant, the sky, and rather, the dew of heaven 6 of the firmament.
Bang!
The two sorial dividing line referred to has the particularity of being drawn with a karva, below which several lines of transitation, either straight or inclined, pass to the lower contour of the glyph. With this combination, it seems that they wanted to indicate the shape of a very heavy and very hanging cloud, giving off rain, that is. This part of the glyph would mean the humidity of the clouds.
Talking breasts.
Furthermore, Khan was the glyph of the years of the East that were consecrated to the god of corn. Representative of Itzamna or of the rejuvenated Itzamna himself, because they are also considered.
This Itzamna is this deity or this god they refer to as Khan. You know what I'm saying? And this big heavy cloud that they're talking about, right? Hanging very low. You know what I'm saying? In the shape of a very heavy hanging cloud. There's gotta be the breast, you know what I'm saying? Full of that rain, full of that drip. We're just talking dry nation, right? We're talking Khans. That drip is dry nation. The shape of that heavy cloud is dry nation. We're just talking aquas. The aquas letting it drip, letting it rain. You see what's going on? This is that remembrance. We are surfing the wave. This it's mana. His name being Khan. Khan. I mean, you got it. It says right here, Khan was the glyph of the years of the East. You see what we're surfing the wave on? You see what we're surfing the wave on? Yeah. You see what we're surfing the wave on? It says Itzan Khan, right? Meaning the dew of the sky, the humidity of the clouds. Khan. We're talking about how Quetzalcoatl and the other gods, how they walked in the form of men on the earth. Alright, we're just talking about Khan, because the name of the god Itzamana appears to be contained in the Khan glyph. Alright, Khan. We're just talking about you. Let's continue to surf the wave. Let's go. We're surfing the wave. You know what I'm saying? In Nawal. No excuses. We gonna make them tell the truth. Every time we upload, we gonna make them tell the truth. Let's go. Let's get it back. Let's get it back. You know, because the Wata like this, when it's this good, you can't stop. You know what I mean? Believe me, I know. Oh, look, it's tripping. Alright. Gotta make it happen again. Let's go. Because now they know we surfing the wave. Alright.
Raha fertile and happy. In fact, there was every reason for the glyph to express the relationship it had with the aforementioned god. Since we had the opportunity to refer to the Mulu glyph, we will immediately discuss this one, which also, as indicated by its name derived from ul, is related to the primitive tree. The meaning of the word mulik is not known for certain, but since the mole theme enters into composition, it is certain that it is a variation of its meaning. Fig. 14. The glyph helps us determine in which direction to look for this, and it is precisely its use in connection with Khan, which resolves the question. Since Mulik is drawn in this glyph in the area reserved for the sky, Mulik being, on the other hand, the glyph of the north, that is, of the region of darkness, undoubtedly Solar, 400 ID, 407-16. 001 refers in Khan to the dark, cloudy sky.
Bang.
The word is, furthermore, undoubtedly in close kinship with the Malumic Chokchikal, which follows as a verbal noun, Lemerio Grande, collective of hills. And as an adjective, stormy. Affiliated themes such as mu and Chokchikal and muck mean dark humidity, to die, damp and dark places, and burial, the cemetery. On the other hand, Malul means peppercorns, and that is why we also find certain variants of mu loop drawn in the shape of a container filled with liquid. Fig. 15. In any case, the predominant idea is that of darkness. Humidity, northern sky, house of the dead. Another Mayan day sign as directly as the TS. 14. ID Cod, Tro 46H2, 15. E. GLFOMULDC Solar, 507, 50%, 509, Stormy. Characteristic of the related to the Tree of Life, if heen that we have just discussed, is the 14th of the series called Hicks, Yiz, 6 and well, Aix, Aiz. 16. Mr. Solar translates this name correctly with sorcerer. 1, however, does not give a complete explanation of the glyph. The two main variants of this, or represent a tiger whose name, Hallam, also serve to designate the great brahos. 6. The face of an Ahan, draws Fa, 16. Et Kuro is, Cod, Dresd, 4H14, 52 from the front, seeing the eyes and the mouth and sometimes also some of the wrinkles of the physiognomy. This one Solar, Abandlungen, Volume 1, pages ant.
Yeah, see, this is where translation get a bit scratchy, but we did see this correlation between this Khan and darkness. Alright, so they're getting descriptive of this Khan and this darkness. And we're surfing the wave now on this Khan, right, and how it's attached to the frequency of these Khans. Let's get it. Let's get it. We're surfing the wave. Come on. Tamoanchan. You know what I'm saying? It's been years in the making. It's been years in the making. Let's get it.
Face is, furthermore, determined by an imex sign, the sign of the Kop Pal, and Umalin CIH, and also by combinations of one with another. The object of these infixes being undoubtedly the allusion to its, Lasavan of the tree. Consequently, the Hicks glyph is composed of a man's face as an indication of such Aida, the determinative, resulting in Aida. A similar explanation can be applied to the 15th Mayan day sign Hamato, men. Fig. 17. As Mr. Solar explains, it means men, in main, to do, work, amen.
Wow.
The one who makes, the craftsman, the expert, the wise sixth
sorcerer.
Naturally, this name was not applied to anyone, but was preferably given to people of a certain maturity of intellect, experience and talent. P17. Esme, ID 103. In accordance with this, we find drawn in the glyph, as an allusion to mature age, the face of an old man. As for the adjective Saolio, a term in Mayan to express wisdom, is itzit, derived from the same its, discussed before. To express it in the glyph they were inscribed. On the face of the old man there were also a series of drops starting from the eye towards the right, a series whose first member sometimes replaces the eye itself on the face, perhaps indicating the wisdom that emanates from the intellects of the wise old men. Therefore, the glyph men actually refers to an its 6 amen. Also very interesting in this connection is the way this same glyph in Chokchikal received the name Zaquin. This word means bird, and very properly Mr. Solar calls attention to the fact that this must correspond to the Mexican word kunudli, eagle. However, the glyph referred to has no relationship with either a bird or an eagle, unless we pay attention to the fact that juxtaposed in some variants of the menu with the lightning bolts and the series of drops there is a strange face. Fig. 18. Of course, also in this form the glyph can be read Ayats, Amen, but the order of the various signs can also be reversed. If for this case sub solar 694 we also title the more complete term Ahan Porld of Kinich or kin, Heen its kin, see kin. Also goes.
Surfing the wave, they're talking about finding a deity by the name of Amen. You know what I'm saying? We cannot make this up. We cannot make this up. And it's being referred to as this old man. You know what I'm saying? This knowledge of ancient, of old. Right here in the old world. And this is the kind of stuff that drive Egyptologists crazy. You know what I'm saying? These, wow. Surf the wave. Surf the wave, ShaBaTaHaWa. So we're getting to that drive. You know what I'm saying? These Hotep niggas have no idea. You know what I'm saying? These Hotep niggas have no idea, man. Surf the wave. Oh, I'm spazzing out. Excuse me. Let me get his back. Whew. Oh, man. You know what I'm saying? The way we flowing ShaBaTaHaWa. Wow. The way we're surfing ShaBaTaHaWa. My goodness. They ain't never getting this back. They ain't never getting this back. My ShaBaTaHaWa.
56001516 Riantes, numbers 698, 699 and 700, Fig. 19 can be read in the same way. We even have in them a full confirmation of what was previously stated. Because they have in them instead of the face of the Ahau other characteristics of the sun god, such as the sign for the children of the east, Ben, who belong to him, and next to it the glyph Lamed. The latter representing one of the days of the series of 20 in which the beginning of a period of Venus fell. Wow. By the way, here again, as with the men glyph, it is the sun god. Itzamna Quetzalcoatl, god of origin, infertility and good years, protector of the wise and patron of the first tree. These are the most obvious of the cases in which relationships are discovered between the day signs of the Mayans and the tree of life, the primitive tree. But since these signs were not only used for the design of the days, but also entered into other combinations, some glyphs of the 20 Nas are related to the referred tree. Especially those that, like Mole, Chan, Yaks, Zay and Che, correspond to our months of December, January and February, that is, to the most pleasant time of the Yucatecan year. However, we will deal only with the glyph of Mole, by parts are the only one that offers something new. Mole means, as we already said, the accumulation or the accumulated, the heap. Understanding that since it refers primarily to the tree of life, it is about food products, etc. Hence evidently the term mole, the name of the famous indigenous dish, generally appreciated. The glyph, Fig. 20, represents this same idea, as the contour is Fo. 20. At Quoro Landa, page 300. Code Dresd 48, 2, 14, 1447.2.22. 4. Naranjo Sterse 10, R. 7. The correctness of this explanation is proven by the fact that this mouth, thus determined, is frequently combined with the manic glyph, which consists of a hand in the act of closing. Fig. 21. Mr. Soler sees in this hand the gesture that the indigenous people of New Spain use to this day to express the idea of eating. Now, if what this means, it cannot be 1410 surrounded by copal points or consisting of all of them. Furthermore, it is easy to see that the opening in the lower part of the glyph, surrounded by a circle, represents a mouth, in relation to which two drops are located. If we interpret these as an expression of food, we find that due to the relationship between them, it is undoubtedly Sel Ali. Being another circumstance than is Fic. 21. He, Odu Mach 4.1, Temple of Inscriptions, Polenyor. Sagao Maudsday, Place, 62, HTYG 11. Landa, page 242. D. Cod, Tires, 4C.
ShaBaTaHaWa, at this point, you know what I'm saying? He really surfing the wave, right? Really surfing the wave. Because what did they say? What did they say in the beginning? That this Khan represented the year and the months, right? they were also talking about this Venus, and that reminded me of what we saw earlier of the Aqua giving rise to the hybrids, how they said that this was the goddess Venus, and if that was the goddess Venus, and right here we're getting in the legend of Tamoanchan, this goddess Venus that fell, well, it now puts the term Lucifer in a whole new light, right? Because it's the giving away of that light that now led to this religion. You see what I'm saying? And if that goddess was Venus and she fell and started producing the hybrids, well, we can understand what's really going on right about now. So we're going to get a little bit of this, you know, because I know this Wata's good, but this video is getting a little lengthy, ShaBaTaHaWa. And I want to make sure that it remains watchable. And I know the real ones is going to watch in entirety, you know, but we'll see right here what we get. And if this is good enough, we'll keep going. If not, we're going to clip it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, to the real ones surfing such a wonderful and magnetic wave with your kind right now. Let's get it.
Find in combination with the assign that expresses the additional item of Lancer to find food for the own. Of course, this will not have been the only application of the mole glyph. But when we find it as the glyph of the month of the same name, it will be a variant of this idea. In the aforementioned case, since the glyph is surrounded by copal points. Since Mole is the month in which the Yentecox farmers celebrated the festival in Dealid, it is easy that in this glyph we have a swarm that is, in effect, nothing more than an accumulation of wax and honey, introduced through an opening 6 mouth. Finally, another glyph that deserves some attention is that of the cycle, Fig. 2-2, which is essentially composed of 2 Chen signs. Fig. 23. Chen means spring, cistern. His affiliation with She, Arbol, is evident. Originally, perhaps we must see in this word an allusion to the source of life, which was, for example, the Ixinche tree. The duplication of this sign in the present case is known as Rai. 22. Sadgo of the cycle Templo de la Crut, Palenque, Ba Vaschidan, Nodel 21, 1, which has as its motive an allusion to the duality of the gods of ingeneration, who are precisely the dispensers of the sources of life. Thus, for example, the Omasiwaddle of the Nahans not only has it expressed in its name, but in many cases it has a couple of Mazorias in the Nuanos. Fig. 24. Considering the close relationship that existed with the Mayans between the tree of life and malts, Ixamshe and Ism, and that tree was the symbol of the original native land on this continent, a parallelism with the years of the Omasiwaddle, mother of men and gods, Leoses, whose role in indigenous mythology, as such, is necessarily placed at the beginning, is drawn up in these 2 Chen signs of all history, and on the other hand, at the beginning of each cycle or major era, since, according to the belief of the Mayan Quiche peoples, each of these is characterized precisely by the birth of a new race F27. Lo Si Temple of the Cross. Pakme, tons of Lanaripets, OL, Moudzing, plural, O2, 1, 1, Copas, Stella X, B17. Goes, just as each end of an era was due to the destruction of an old race.
What?
Of course these will not be the only traces that the primitive tree has left in the graphic system of the Mayans. However, there were enough cases cited to speak very loudly in favor of the influence of that Tamoanchan whose symbol. Above all, if this is so noticeable in the Mayan glyphic, there will be no less it in the same language. Aropol Vo, Part 1.
Wow, so now they're saying the symbolizing of that broken tree is to represent the birthing or the coming of a new race with the destruction of that old race. Is that why they found everything about the Tamoanchan, this so-called Olmec, buried? Is that why they found you buried? Is that what's really was going on? And this is their way of saying it's okay for them to replace you? Did we really just get this in real time? You know what I'm saying? It said, it is the belief of the Mayan Quiche peoples. Each of these is characterized precisely by the birth of a new race. You know what I'm saying? Which goes just as each end of an era was due to the destruction of an old race. course, these would not be the only traces that the primitive tree has left in the graphic system of the Mayans. However, there was enough cases cited to speak very loudly in the favor of the influence of that Tamoanchan, whose symbol, above all, if this is so noticeable in the Mayan glyph, there will be no less in it the same language. So they're very aware. And since they're very aware, I think it's okay to clip it here to prepare for the upcoming installment ShaBaTaHaWa. Cause what a magnifying wave this has been. You know what I'm saying? And we got a little bit more to go. I'm still not done. We're still not done. I didn't expect it to carry out this long, but the drop is the drop. You know what I'm saying? And what a drop it has been. So we're gonna get back to you real soon, ShaBaTaHaWa, and I hope you enjoy this one. Let's run it up because, wow, the drop we got in this did not fail to shock. You know what I'm saying? Much Tawada for surfing the wave. Hawa, that is Max Tawada to Ama and Abba. And until next time, ShaBaTaHaWa, Halaka, Aniya.